Hey, hello again. It's me doing another podcast. Check me out. There's going to be some videos and faster TV stuff soon, but until then, I wanted to keep pushing on with these. So today I want to talk about the skill of listening, and it kind of ties into story a little. So if your personal story puts you as the hero, which it should, and it probably does, what you've got to remember is that when you're working with a client, you're a guest star in their story. So you're making a cameo, if you like, but what you're definitely not is the hero. I guess they are, obviously. Now, with this in mind, you need to help play out their story well so that they get the results they need. And that's not as easy perhaps as I've just made it sound. But what I mean by that is you need to think about the clients come in with a want and a goal and a need, but it isn't necessarily a surface level. It's actually under surface level. It's actually sat there inside them somewhere. And what you've got to do is you've got to listen to the transactional speak that you're getting and try and find the underlying motion and motivation from what they're really after. For example, a client who comes in and says, I'd like to buy 10 sessions from you to transform my body. The headline there is, I want to lose weight, or I want to look better. And the transactional component is, I want to pay you to make that happen for me. And so you're essentially being paid to be the roadmap for the weight loss or the toning or the mixture. Even if you don't like the word toning, the ability to make your muscles pop out a little in symmetry against a body that carries less body fat is usually what a transformation is. So if you just hear that, transactional value, then the transactional return is we need to reduce the amount of calories into your body potentially. I say potentially, or we maybe need to make your calories more consistent. That's sometimes a thing. And then what we need to do is increase the exercise that you're doing. And if we're going to try and lose body fat first, we need to make sure that the amount of energy you're expending is greater than the amount of energy you're putting into the system. If we're looking to gain mass and size, we need to check that within reason, the amount of calories coming into the system, the amount of energy coming into the system exceeds the amount of energy going out. And if you hear that, you're an alright trainer, and that's not too hard to do. And if you want to just make it about that, you pick movements that are really, really simple to do, like a deadlift, which is essentially picking a bar up with trimmings from the strength conditioning world, or squatting, which is essentially lowering a bar down with trimmings from the strength conditioning world. Bench press, that's pushing a bar up, but you're lying on your back, just to give it a little bit of a difference. Pull-ups, which is the bar ain't moving, but you are. And just things that are simple. They're hard to get wrong. If you get them wrong, there's not a massive bad consequence for you. And so you're probably going to lift a lot, expend a lot of energy, and the muscles that are involved, the muscle fibers that are involved, they will respond by growing, or they'll respond by burning more energy and helping you create that energy balance that you require. And that would be a transactional personal trainer in my mind. Now, if you're a trainer that wants to be the star of the show, and you want to be the hero in this, then what you need to do is build up your role. And the way most trainers do that is they strike the fear into the heart of the person they're training. And they go after them. They're like, well, if you don't hire me, you'll die, or something worse. If you squat wrong, you get the plague, or if you deadlift wrong, then, I don't know, small ants come round and set you on fire. And so if you don't remember to foam roll, then your tissue will start coming inside and eating itself and eating you, and then it'll rob banks and you'll get locked up. That kind of, probably not that extreme, but that kind of fear is driven into the client from the trainer. And then that means the trainer has to be there. What a marketing plan, what a business plan will make the client really, really need us by building up some medical grounds for them to need us. And then we'll just keep hammering that home. And you know what? If we say that enough, there's enough science out there that shows that our level of status and our power of suggestion is going to work on a few people. They might stop seeing us. They're probably going to get those pains we warned them off, because that's how you work. That's how you interpret information. If you want to know more about that, then there's plenty of stuff out there on the psychosocial model. There's a lot of stuff out there on placebo effect, I suppose. There's a lot there on suggestions from authority. And so that's one way. And that's the way we kind of our industry's been taught. Get fear into them. You'll do the bad technique and you'll pop your back into 18 different places, and it will not just be embarrassing. You'll never be able to have your head above your chest again. That kind of thing. Not true, not right. That's extreme. But definitely I hear things like you'll slip a disc, you'll hurt a knee, you'll pull ligaments, that kind of stuff we can't predict. So a fear-based trainer doesn't need to listen so much, because they need to create. And the problem with creating is you need to keep creating, and you need to keep solving problems that might not be there. So the other way to think of this is that this person's a hero of their own story, but they're not really going to tell you that. They might not even be aware of it. So how are you going to work out what they are and what they need to be, and how you're going to steer them there? And by that I mean, how are you going to create this story on the hop with them while they're trying to sort of focus on this end goal? So let's go back to our transformation client. Our transformation client comes in and says, right, I would like to pay you for 12 sessions and I would like that to result in my body being transformed. That's just the conversation. There's no more to it than that. That's all you've got. If you start to listen and start to probe a little, why is that important? Why do you need to change? Why don't you need to change more? What if we only changed a little bit, not so much? Who is it important to if you change? Why do you think you can change? Why do you think you need me to make these changes? When you start to get into those sort of questions, you start to work out what your client actually wants and needs. You start to work out what kind of story your client sat in. And if you don't know what I'm talking about there, listen to the podcast before this on the 7 different stories. Once you've got that in mind, then it's about acute listening and replying. And so if someone is in their mindset, fitness is a monster and they need to overcome this fitness monster, and that your role is to be a very good guru, then you've got to start talking in that sense. Like, right, this week, let's work out our strategy to beat this monster that's fitness. So let's look at our 2 components, our energy in, our energy out. Let's see if we're skillful enough to do all the movements we want for energy out. Let's see if we can get the performance in for energy out. Let's see what you like most, because that's how you'll train hardest. Let's see what we can do in everyday life to increase that energy expenditure. And that goes into park your car further away, get a chairsicle, that's what I call them, one of those little bikes that sit by your chair, just anything really that keeps you more active. Or how are we going to slay this monster that is nutrition? And it might be, let's take small steps, or it might be they want to be that all-conquering hero, let's change it all at once. But start to build this as a journey rather than a 12-week plan, and start to make this their story, and celebrate when things go wrong, because when things go wrong, that makes the story more interesting and it makes the achievement greater. And start to listen to what's important and what isn't. So quite often we'll hear a client say something, but we won't ask for clarification because we'll take it on face value. So someone says, I want to lose weight, you'll go, right, well, we have to get calories that are coming into the body to lower. Energy into the body needs to get lower. Energy out of the body ideally needs to go up, at least slightly. And these two things done consistently over an amount of time will get you to your place. But maybe they're saying, I think if I lost weight, I'd be more popular. And if I was more popular, I'd have more friends. And what I really want is I want to feel more confident and have more friends around me, or I need to find my partner, or I need to get over my divorce, or whatever it is. And what they're really sort of digging at is, I really need to celebrate every win here. Like, my ego's on the floor. I need to get out of myself. I need you to introduce me to people in the gym and show that you're the friendly one, and let me show you off a little. This is what I'm asking from you as a trainer. The goals are important, but if I'm still lonely, I'm just thin, you've not achieved my goal. And so your role as a coach on an exercise front is maybe to get them doing things that they never thought they were capable of, to give them stories to use to build rapport and meet people. So it might be, right, well, what we should do is we should enter a Tough Mudder, or we should enter a kettlebell competition, or let's get you into lifting, you've never done that before, or let's book skiing, or whatever it is. Let's start to build experience. That client might be experience driven. What I'm saying is that most trainers hear, but not many trainers listen. And to listen requires you to ask questions, requires you to direct people to the answer that you can hear in their voice they're trying to get to. It's about building story on the spot. It's not good enough to know that if you want a muscle to hurt, put it into the lactate system. If you want if you want fat to disappear, get the energy balance right. If you want muscle to grow, get the energy balance right. Get some decent parents as well that allow you to inherit good satellite cells. And so listening's something that's, if you go outside of fitness and you go into improv in particularly, you'll hear that listening is a muscle. That's how they speak about it. Listening's a skill that's a muscle, and retaining that information is tough. And you need to practice to do it. And you need to practice asking questions to find out what people actually mean below the words, the surface words that come out. And I wanted to share that with you because I've spent the last year and a half learning to listen and react. And I've done it through other mediums other than fitness, but it's improving the way I communicate with people, the way people communicate with me, and it helps me help trainers to get clients the exact thing they want. Because if you give a client the exact thing they want and the story around it, they talk about it a lot, and then you get a lot more clients. And it's why our trainers are earning more and they're full, is because they've been building that listening muscle and then reacting with exactly what their client wants. It's hilarious that people sometimes brand faster for its exercise or brand faster for its way of doing things, but actually will do whatever it takes as long as it's bound by science to get a client what they need and want. And we find out what they need and want by really actively listening to our clients and questioning them and finding out what story they're in, what story needs to be told, what help they need, what role I have as a coach, and then explaining that back to the client at the end gives them that tough kind of, tough's the wrong word. It gives them that want and need to be part of your group and to help you be successful. And it helps them with an intrinsic drive to get to their goal and then enjoy that story again with a new thing. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I'll probably have something else tomorrow or another day, maybe next week now. Things are picking up this end in terms of being watched and audited. So thanks for listening. Catch you soon.